What's up? It's your girl Serena Marie, and today we're going to be talking about King Richard. It was just released today, if I get this video up today. So I just finished it and I wanted to share my thoughts and my experience, really, because it was an experience, to say the least. Before we get into it, I wanted to thank everyone who watched my passing book film review comparison. If you haven't seen that, it'll be linked in the description. And if you're returning, once again, thank you. All right, let's get into it. So before watching this film, I wasn't sure if I was going to watch it. I love Venus and Serena, and as you know, my name is Serena, and whenever I introduce myself, I hate when people do this, but they're like, oh, like Serena Williams. Yeah, I guess. Not really, but sure. And so having heard that my entire life, having been asked if I played tennis all of my life, I have an appreciation for Serena Williams and Venus Williams, of course. I do not play tennis, but I love them nonetheless. While watching this film, I was reminded that before we had like our Michelle Obama, who everyone has as goals, there was Serena and Venus, and it was just so powerful, like watching this movie, seeing how their careers came to be, and their relationship with their parents and the impact that it had and the goals that their father had for them before they were even created. It was beautiful. Anyway, so I have some notes on my phone, so I'll be looking at that a lot, but I think we should start with Will Smith, of course. I went into this movie being worried about Will Smith's acting, but Serena and Venus have been very loud and proud of how great a job Will Smith did embodying their father. So I had to give it a shot. The last Will Smith movie I actually watched in theaters, and most recently, was Gemini Man, which we all know wasn't good. It was not, it was really bad. And so yeah, I was a little hesitant to dive into another Will Smith film anytime soon, but we did it. One other hesitation I had about watching this film was how they were going to portray this imperfect man. He did an amazing job building Serena and Venus into the amazing players that they are, but he himself has imperfections, as we all do, but I was worried that that wouldn't be discussed in the film, and we'll touch back on that. I decided to watch the film anyway with those two hesitations in mind, and what can I say? I don't really see Will Smith as a character actor. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, he has played other people, but as of late, his acting hasn't been great, so I worried that he wouldn't play this man very well. And for the first 20 minutes, it took me, like, all of that time to really get into it, because hearing him do this accent, I was just like, So, Serena and Venus grew up in Compton, but their dad was from Louisiana, I think, so he kind of had a southern accent, but it wasn't perfect, I'll just say that. Anyway. It took about 20 minutes for me to really feel this film, and I think at that point I was starting to feel like there was a scene that was really disappointing for for Richard Williams. He wrote a book about his experience, so I don't know if I'm really spoiling anything. I feel like biopics are hard to spoil because we all know what happened in real life. Anyway, this disappointment that he experienced, like trying to find a coach for the girls, reminded me of his character in The Pursuit of Happiness, like trying to make a life for himself. And so that connection for me really like made me dive in. I was like, all right, you're pulling at my heartstrings and now I'm here. The pride that Richard Williams had, his trust in the process, his trust in his plan, Will Smith portrayed that so well in every scene, like in every attempt to move their careers forward. It was really well done, I must say. Something else I appreciated about this film was seeing Will Smith talk about race. I have not seen every Will Smith movie, but I feel like the closest he's come to a conversation about race was in Bright. Which is like a metaphor about racism, maybe an allegory, I don't know. But they bring up the police brutality against Rodney King that was going on that happened during that time period. Richard Williams was very much like, oh, you think we did this and that because we're black, like we're in this position because we're, like, there was just a lot of that. And seeing Will Smith have to portray that, have to discuss it, because he's not really one, he's all about that respectability politics. And to see him have to push past that, loved it, loved to see it. So like I said, before watching this movie, I had seen on Twitter, seen a couple of articles about how Richard Williams was a Rolling Stone. He has had a few kids before this family that Serena and Venus are a part of. He had a few kids and kind of left them, apparently. I don't know. Don't know the full story, but I was worried that this film would leave out that part of his story. It took some time to get to. Of course, this film is not about the early life of Richard Williams. It's about him raising Venus and Serena to be the stars that they are. But before that, he had some problems. And so the amazing actor, whose name I'm gonna butcher, so I'm just gonna put it here, did a great job of playing Serena and Venus's mother, and called him out for the nonsense. She was like, yo, kids stepped up to my door and you were like, oh, that's my son. And I was supposed to stand here. She was like, I never left you after finding all of this out. And so that ego check was necessary. I think it informed the audience who may not know that he was imperfect. And I appreciate it. I think something that I was going back and forth on was if these beautiful stories should be told about imperfect people without telling the whole story. And so I appreciate that they did share more about his life than just this portion of time. Yeah, I don't know. I'm trying to be gentle. I'm trying not to like dig up all of the mess, but I do think it's important to talk about. I think before I was like, who's deserving of having their stories told if they are imperfect? And now I'm at a place where even imperfect people have stories to tell. So that's my thoughts on that. Let me know down below what you think. My favorite part of the film probably is when Venus is about to, she receives her first offer for a shoe deal, I think. Somebody offers her $3 million and she's like, I don't want it. And her coach is like, but you may not get another, this is a great offer. And she's like, nah, nope. And it reminded me of Master P's, he had a portion of a song on Solange's A Seat at the Table album, and he was saying he got a record deal for $1 million, or he got an offer for that, and he was like, if this white man thinks I'm worth $1 million, I'm probably worth more.
What do you think I'm worth if this white man offered me $1 million? I gotta be worth 40 or 50 or 10 or something.
Venus got the offer at 14, and at that age she already knew she was worth more than $3 million. By the time she was 15, Reebok gave her a deal for $12 million. That blows my mind. Can you imagine? In the end, there were multiple times when I wanted to cry. I felt very emotional as I watched this film. I thought it was beautiful. It made me think of like if more children had one person in their life who believed that they could achieve something great, imagine how far we would all be, how much healthier we would all be. And not only did Serena and Venus have Richard Williams, but they had their entire family behind them, which they've talked about in interviews. Their entire family was involved in getting them to this point, and I think that is beautiful. So I would give this film a solid 9. I would give it a strong 9. I do think it was long, which biopics tend to be, but it was 2.5 hours. It never really felt that way. I did have to pause it a couple times to make something to eat, to use the bathroom. But it was 2.5 hours, but it was worth it. It was a good 2.5 hours. So yeah, if you have not seen the film, it's on HBO Max and in theaters. Go watch it. Highly suggest giving it a view. 2 more things before we go. We need to talk about a wig and we need to talk about a song. So as you know, Serena and Venus, known for their beaded hair, which I have never understood how they play tennis with all these beads in their hair. I can't imagine how painful that would be. But they did it. And to portray this in the film, they put the actress who was playing, or the actor who was playing Venus, in a wig, which you can see, so y'all ain't gonna understand, but the first 2 rows are natural hair, and then right behind that is the wig, and it's very obvious. I'm sure beating her head would have been very difficult, especially taking out, she had to go home after, you know what I mean? But it could have been done better. Anyway, last but not least, as a result of this film, we have new music by Beyonce. We have a new song by Beyonce, which was beautiful. At the end, they had this like cut together clips of Venus and Serena doing like interviews, cuts of their dad being a huge fan in the crowd, and Beyonce's new song played over that, and it was great. It was beautiful. So yeah, that's my review of King Richard. Once again, if you haven't seen it, go check it out, and make sure you subscribe and let me know what you would like me to review next, and I'll see you in the next one.